Joining us in this podcast is Bradley Jenkins, Intel's EMEA lead for AI, PC, and ISV strategies, to chat about the key benefits of Intel's Core Ultra processor range and how modern enterprises can benefit from systems powered by it. Bradley, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. It's exciting to hear from you. We are going through an evolution when it comes to enterprise grade systems, given the evolving threat landscape, given how most of the workforce today is largely distributed. So there are a lot of different elements that IT teams need to factor in. So highlighting the core benefits of Intel Core Ultra processors is a very relevant topic, very trending topic for today's time for the modern workspace landscape. So great to have you here today. Thank you again for doing this with us. Before we dive in, we'd love it if you can take a couple of minutes to quickly tell us about yourself and your time and role at Intel.
Hi, Prima. I'm delighted to meet you. I really appreciate the opportunity to join your podcast today. My name is, as you mentioned, I'm Bradley Jenkins. I've worked within IT and I've been part of the Intel family for just over 24 years now. And more recently, I've worked within the client category organization. And even more recently than that, I'm working on this new category of PC called the AI PC, which Intel and our partners introduced in December of last year.
We'd like to specifically dive into the Core Ultra processor range and how that benefits the modern workforce and what IT teams especially need to understand about it when they are like decision makers in terms of what infrastructure to implement, what devices to implement for their organizations. So as a quick next step, can you tell us about Intel Core Ultra processors, a quick overview, how they've evolved in the recent past?
Sure. So the Intel Core Ultra processor is a new class of processor. It's at the heart of the AI PC, and we introduced it in December of 23. The design goals for the Intel Core Ultra were really specific. So the first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to reimagine the power efficiency of our process, because we have a lot of demand, especially from end customers, for more power efficient products. So that means that they can be more productive for longer. So that was one of our big design goals for this product, is the power efficiency. Second is we wanted to dramatically improve the graphics compute performance. And then the third area of focus for us on this particular product was to lead AI at scale. So we wanted to add in the ingredients into the Intel Core Ultra processor. That fundamentally means that the users can take advantage of the applications that use AI and ML today, as well as basically any future applications currently in development. So those were the design goals of the Core Ultra processor. And I'm pleased to say that our team has trumps with this particular product. So for example, in the area of power efficiency, users that collaborate or use collaboration applications, they can experience as much as a 36% reduction in power gen on gen, and that translates into hours more productivity. But at the same time, we're not achieving the power efficiency of Core Ultra by sacrificing performance-wise. Basically, the product is quicker, so users can expect basically on multi-threaded applications, double-digit performance generation on generation, and even single-threaded performance gains generation on generation. So there's a lot of advancements on this particular product, and it's meeting that it met with the design goals originally set by our engineering team.
Absolutely. And a quick add on here, how essentially does software optimization impact the performance of these processors on devices when they are used?
So part of our challenge is the hardware is one part of it. So it's about 25% of the challenge. 75% of the challenge is the software, because fundamentally you need to make the software and the hardware work together. And that ultimately delivers a more complete and compelling user experience at the end of the day. So at Intel, we have quite a large software team that works with software developers to create an environment where it's easy to work on and develop on Intel architecture. So we have tools, complete tool chains. For example, OpenVINO. OpenVINO is a complete tool chain that we introduced in 2018. And since we introduced this tool, it's enabled hundreds of developers to optimize even thousands of features on and for Intel architecture. But the relationship is really key, because it fundamentally impacts the user experience, it impacts the power efficiencies of the product, and also can impact even the security of the device itself.
Absolutely. Like you rightly said, the evolution of this range has benefited the larger workforce, especially those that have a lot of maybe longer meetings to like execute on through a typical workday. Even those who have a lot of heavy graphics, a lot of heavy content being churned out. So specifically, can you talk about who benefits from these systems in a typical organizational model? Photographers, gamers, businesses, content creators. These are some of the profiles that often use devices powered by Intel Core Ultra. So, can you elaborate on this a little more and also
Sure.
highlight a little bit about how Intel powered AI PCs are creating that differentiated experience today?
Yeah, so in terms of who benefits, users that use them in like laptops benefit. So fundamentally, we have manufactured three different variants of the Intel Core Ultra processor. And the reason why we've developed three different variants is to support the many different types of personas that exist within business. So within business, you'll have the mobile go-getter that we refer to, somebody that is constantly mobile, not connected to a power supply, but basically running on battery most of the day. You have the data analyst, somebody that basically spends a lot of time on data, think about data scientists. And you also have developers. In developers, there's a wide range of developers out there. On top of that, you have content creators, marketeers, and with that operating business. So there's a wide variety of personas that exist within business. And we have different core ultras to support the different needs of the personas that are in business. But fundamentally, these personas or businesses are replacing 3, 4, or even 5-year-old devices. So upgrading to a newer system with the Core Ultra can have a dramatic shift in the user experience and kind of puts a big smile on most people's faces when they upgrade to a newer system. For the business user, it's about, yes, now I can have all of those amazing features and experiences turned on and be productive at the same time. So it can be quite uplifting. So regardless of if you're a business user or a content creators or a photographer, upgrading from a 3 or even a 5-year-old system is going to have that dramatic user experience for users out there.
Absolutely. And when it comes to working professionals, like we like briefly touched upon this a couple of moments ago, that extended power range for your device is helpful because you never know when you'll have an electricity outage. That happens often where I am. And you never know when you're on the move for a long flight, for example, or you have to hop in and hop out of physical meetings continuously, travel for events. So how exactly can professionals today benefit from your power savings feature during these different circumstances? Like, how do these processors work in a unique manner with regards to this?
So we focus a little bit on basically what we're seeing happening in software development, and a lot of software these days, or a lot of modern software that users use includes AI and machine learning running in the background. And so basically, if you're running these types of workloads just on the CPU and the GPU, they can have a tremendous impact on the power efficiency of the product, because it means that there's not much room left for anything else. So think about typical applications that a user might use. They might be on a Teams or a Zoom call. It could be a 3x3 call. They could have live captions running, which is a pretty cool feature, or even transcripting, because today's user wants to capture meeting notes and actions and automate that, what would be a mundane process. But then you also have security running in the background to prevent things like phishing attacks. And there are a number of new security software applications utilizing AI and ML coming out in the marketplace. So this is a typical user. And so that typical user using those baseline applications, if they have a traditional PC, basically what they'll find is now they're running out of CPU compute power to do more things, other multitasking, or their battery life isn't as great. Whereas if you have a new AI PC, we've added this, what we would refer to as an NPU, and now we're basically moving some of the workload onto this neural processing unit. And that frees up the CPU capacity. And what's really great about the NPU, this neural processing unit, can run these workloads at very low power. And the result of running these workloads from very low power means that the user will experience a longer battery life in their day of work, and so that they can be more productive. And even the system that they're using has more headroom so that they can multitask even more if they wish to do so.
Absolutely. So specific to IT decision makers, those teams within a typical B2B enterprise organization who are at the cusp of making a decision, what are some of the summary points you'd share when it comes to these processors or devices powered by ultra core range? And how current business environments can or should consider more of these setups for their as part of the choice?
Yeah, so I think fundamentally, again, I think if you're thinking about upgrading from a 3 or a 5-year-old system, I think Intel Core Ultra should be part of the decision criteria. It should definitely be an option out there. And the things to think about is, first and foremost, you're going to get a really good PC. Regardless of the different personas, we have different products that support the different personas within organizations. You're going to get a very good PC that supports a lot of the pain points that users experience compared to a 3, 4, or even 5-year-old system. That's the first thing. Secondly, basically, these new systems have the potential to be even more secure. We've got technologies like Intel threat detection technology, which has evolved over the last 3 to 5 years quite. And this hardware technology speeds up the software's capability to detect malware and ransomware attacks. And we know that those are pretty evasive security threats that target a lot of businesses these days. So you have this out-of-the-box additional security that comes with Intel Core Ultra that works with applications like CrowdStrike, Microsoft Defender. And then the third area, basically, why I would consider this product as well, is around the AI. So not only do you get to basically, or do the people that use these devices get to unleash all the benefits of AI and the applications that they're working on today, but it also, because the development work that we're doing in the space, users are equipped for applications that come down the line. And because basically you're now moving some of the workload from the CPU into this low power NPU, that means potentially there's the opportunity for the device lifecycle to be improved, and there's more opportunity for these types of devices to be reused within your organization. So there's a lot of value basically for IT to consider when looking at new devices to replenish within their organizations.
Absolutely. And we'd like to dive a little deeper into the differences between the three AI engines here: CPUs, GPUs, NPUs. I think that's something that most of our listeners would like to understand about while they're making this choice. So can you break it down for us?
Yeah, so we take a step back. So the reason why we talk about CPU, GPU, and NPU is because fundamentally the industry has reached a consensus that in order to have a system that is AI capable, you need these three core AI compute engines built within the system. And that's what Intel Core Ultra has. It has these three AI compute engines included. So the CPU basically has been upgraded with additional VNNI instructions, although VNNI instructions have been refreshed. And typically the CPU is really great for low latency AI components. So think about bursty type workflows. For example, if you're transcribing into different languages or voice-to-text workloads, or even just setting up the AI workload, the CPU plays a fundamental role in terms of low latency and getting things done really fast. So it plays a really critical role in the AI workload process. The GPU is the highest performant AI accelerator. So for example, if you have content creators, it's all about fast time to completion. And the GPU is the right place for those types of workloads. And it does a phenomenal job in shortening the time to complete graphics intense work tasks, which is great for content creators. And then the NPU is really good for those AI sustained workloads. And it can run those AI sustained workloads at very low power. So in the example that I shared previously, if you're running these sustained IO workloads just on the CPU and the GPU, that can be quite power intense for those compute engines, but offloading to the NPU basically frees up the capabilities of the processor and also in some instances the GPU, and then running at low power can even help extend the battery life of devices. So those are the three main components, and those three components we believe are essential for an AI PC.
Bradley, this has been a very interesting conversation. There's so much to learn about when it comes to the different parameters that power Intel's range. And this conversation was more focused on the core ultra processors and how they can benefit larger enterprises. And we'll definitely look forward to a deeper dive somewhere down the line. But before we wrap up, if there's anything else you'd like to add, even best practices when it comes to choosing devices when teams are looking to upgrade, that would be good to hear from you.
Yeah, I think it really boils down to basically how organizations start to use telemetry data. And we really start to look at what matters most for users as well. Because one of the other big themes that we see emerging is sustainability and device lifecycle management. So I think fundamentally what it boils down to for businesses and organizations is just making sure that they equip their employees with the right type of device. And by equipping employees with the right type of device can have many benefits. Describe putting a smile on people's faces when they get to work and they open up their device. And so it's more engaging, the experience is better, productivity is better. So it's a win-win. But I think if there's one bit of advice I'd give is to look at personas, look at the different types of users. And if you need help, feel free to reach out to any of our partners that I'm sure we'll be delighted to help customers out there to help with deciding or with the selection criteria of these devices.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bradley, for taking the time to do this with us today. We'll have you back again sometime very soon for a deep dive into the benefits of AI-powered devices across a unit's hardware. But until then, we wish you and the team at Intel all the very best.
Thank you so much.